I became full-time in January. Before that, I was part-time with the Twins, which was only during the season. And before that, I ran my own business, Brace Home Art Photography. I do a lot of freelance work with clients all around the state, some around the country, I guess. I don't do as much freelance work as I did before. As they said earlier, you wear a lot of hats. I was doing a lot of shooting, a lot of editing. You just send out a lot of invoices. You got to do your taxes. There's a lot that was involved there, so it's kind of good. I don't have to do much of that anymore. But yeah, working in sports is fun. It's a lot of long hours. I was a communication major here with an emphasis in writing. So I still do a lot of writing for the Twins. I write for the Twins magazine. I help with our media guy to help with press releases. So I work in our comm office. So besides photography, I still get a little bit of writing in, and I still do a lot of graphic design, which I actually wanted to do originally. I help design a lot of Twins materials, posters and stuff. Periscope does most of our designs for the Twins, all of our marketing and stuff, and they create a style guide for us to use throughout the year with fonts, logos, colors, textures to use. So they kind of make the job easier for me throughout the year, which is pretty nice.
And for the last 3 years, I've been just a solo potter working in the studio. And if you looked at my hours during a year, I spend about 60 to 70% of my time in the studio making pots. Throwing pots, finishing pots, glazing, mixing glazes, hauling clay to the studio, all the different things that come along with being a potter and being a studio artist. And then 10 to 15% of my time is sitting in front of the computer and I'm designing graphics for myself, or I'm working on my website, or uploading images to my Facebook page, or communicating with customers, or doing my taxes, or doing my books. So there's this artist hat that I wear for the most part, and then there's these other hats, and one of them is marketing, another one is design, another one is tax prep. So there's all these little things that I've had to either learn or teach myself how to work with spreadsheets, how to communicate in type, and because my website it's all type, and Facebook's all about type and images. So being concise and having good writing skills is a big part of what I do.
All the time who are kind of running into that same problem, where they're trying to get that balance between making what they want, doing what they want to do, and still be able to make a living on it. And it can be really frustrating, to tell you the truth. But of the group that I went to school with, there's really only one. There's one went off to interior design, one went off is teaching art. Actually, several are teaching art. I mean, there's certainly arts-related careers that are happening, but only one that I'm aware of who's making art for a living, and that's Neil Sherman. And even he is teaching and working in a frame shop. So I guess maybe technically he's not. But I think the core, he is what I think of as a starving artist. He's doing it. He's living the life. Sean McNulty is another graduate from St. John's who's probably even more so making a living in his art. He's really launched through the social media, Etsy and stuff. He's selling his work online and is doing a fabulous job of marketing his work. And he's one of the people that I will, when other artists are wondering about that, how do I get my stuff out on the internet, I send them to Sean McNulty. He's brilliant at it. So there are people who are doing it. It's a challenge, and they will all say it didn't happen overnight. You got to work at it. And I was just like you, right, with the art history major, and thinking afterwards that I probably should go into grad school. Obviously, I didn't take that route, and I don't really regret it, but I can definitely understand why you would want to. If it's museum, like curatorial work, you will need that. If it's gallery work, you won't. But there's also arts administration degrees now that are really very helpful if you want to get into any sort of nonprofit arts administration role, which could be museum work as well. So you might want to look at the different types of programs, and that's a shorter program than it would be like to get a master's in art history. So
or during that semester when we were signing up for classes, and I spoke with my faculty advisor, and I ended up switching and becoming a management major, which was great because I loved everything about it. But I'm sure there's some management majors here in the audience, and you know it can take you anywhere. I graduated with a bunch of management majors, and I can tell you that I don't think anybody's doing the same job I'm doing, and I know that a lot of people aren't doing, I mean, none of us are doing the exact same job. So it's a little bit scary in the way that it can take you in so many different directions, and you're not sure exactly where your degree can take you. You need to be yourself when you're in that interview, and you really need to sell the value of yourself. So yep, I didn't have a ton of experience going into advertising, and I let my company know that. But you know what? I'm also a really hard worker, and I have great value that I can bring to the company. I will always have my phone with me if they need me, and I'm there, you know, to help them in any way, even if it's just standing around and waiting to ship something. So that's something that I really wanted you guys to know, is really show the true you while you're going out there and while you're looking for what you need to do.
And when I've seen people interview, it's everybody can do the job, but it's if your personality fits in. Everybody that interviews or makes it to the interview process, whether it's a sports team or anywhere down the line, you're capable of doing the job. A lot of it is how you fit in and how you promote yourself during the interview. Don't be afraid to say how good you are at everything. They want somebody who's good at what they do, but they also want somebody who's confident, and they also want somebody who they can get along with, working next to every day.
Something on campus, you know, help out with marketing for this event, help out with communication for this, volunteer your time, help out with any networking events that could potentially come up, and maybe they need to send out a flyer, or maybe there's an email template that could be created and designed for the school. Any way you could help with that, like any of the student ventures on campus I'm trying to think of all of them right now, I'm sure would be thrilled to have some sort of postcards made for them where they don't have to pay you for your time because you were just doing it to get that experience. Yep, and that's something great you can write down on your resume and you can speak to. So, yeah.
I would add, I think small companies or nonprofits maybe getting positions in marketing departments there, either internships, those sorts of things.